Wow, guys! Your teacher showed me your work about the hands, and I was so proud and blown away at how cool they turned out. And you guys should be proud too. So I love looking at the pictures, and I love seeing what you do. So that is awesome, and pat yourselves on the back for that. Our next thing that we're going to be doing is, this is an example I did. It's called Day and Night Skies. And so we're going to be working with warm colors and cool colors today. First, you want to take out one of your art pieces of paper. So you fold it. We're gonna cut it into a square. So fold it up to the top until it looks like a triangle. Get your scissors out. And then I'm kind of bending it like this a little bit as I'm cutting it so that I don't have to draw on it. Anyway, so I'm bending it, and then just try and cut it really straight because this is going to be the edge of your paper. So if it's all wobbly, then the edge of your artwork is going to be wobbly. Ruler actually doesn't go, or mine doesn't, all the way across. It's just kind of, anyway, so I start at one end and your permanent marker. So always start at the top, and then you can pivot this to match wherever you need to go with your thumb. See my thumb pivot. So I'm starting at the top. I'm not holding my permanent marker there the whole time because it will burn a hole through this thin paper right onto your desk. So just checking the top, getting the bottom pretty good, checking the top again and the bottom. It looks great. Okay. So we draw most of our line. Then I move my paper up a little bit, and then realign. And I'm not going like right there, otherwise the line would be over. I'm kind of staying on this side enough for the marker to go there. Boop. And then there's the rest of your line. So once you have your line drawn, then we draw the moon, the stars, and the circle for the sun, and then the lines. So I just guessed as to what a circle looks like, but if you have, something that you can trace, then that's better. Like if you have a, I don't know, maybe something smaller than a pop can? I don't know. Anyway, I just guessed on mine. But maybe your teacher has a compass. And then I was saying that if you are unsure about how to draw a star just by drawing it like this, then I would draw a regular star and then kind of go over. Just use it as a guideline. It's up to you how many stars you want. And I like to add clouds too, but we'll do that with marker. If you do too much pencil, it just gets gray and it smears and okay. Let me do one more little guy here. And then you would erase the middle. So when you're doing your sun lines, guess as to where the center of your circle is and put a little dot there. And then you take your ruler and just go straight across as when you're doing your lines. Like for here, I might want this to be the tip of something, so I might go on this side and then later go on that side. So anyway, so I have it on my dot, and then I go up here and down. And I turn my paper. You're gonna turn your paper a lot. You can even turn your paper completely in half. Have it on your dot. And then go up here and down. Have it on your dot. And go up and down. I have it on the dot. And then go up. And you just start filling it in to to get it the thickness that you want. And see, I don't think I'd want this any thinner because we're gonna decorate the inside. So I think that's a pretty good thickness. And it might be, we're gonna go over the whole thing that we just did. We're gonna erase the dot with marker. So if you'd rather do it in marker the first time around, then I'm okay with that if you feel comfortable with that. But it might be better just to go back and line them up again. And probably good if you're using magic marker to put something underneath your desk so you're not writing on your desk. And this, I don't know. If I go right in half, it might be a little too big, so I might choose to go on the side, and we'll do 2 of them in there if we can squeeze 2 in. Just kind of got to use your best judgment. And I don't know if you remember from last time, but when you are trying to trace exactly on a line, your marker is pretty thick, so you want to scooch your ruler over this way to give your marker room to hit the line that you want to hit. Oh, so I turned my paper a lot. You notice I didn't try and draw this perfect circle where you're, so your hand will naturally make a circle if you do this. So I do part of the circle and connect, turn the paper, part of the circle and connect, turn the paper, and finish my circle. So that's easiest for me. And then as you're doing your black, it's a good time to, like, I don't know that I like that star right there, so I might move it. You know, once you get stuff erased, you can say, oh, we're gonna change this before you get it in black. Just doing this really quick. I'm sure your stars will be much better. But yeah, I'm gonna move this guy up just a little bit. Okay, and then you erase whatever crazy lines we have here. We're gonna talk a little bit about the color wheel. So some of you probably already know the primary colors, which is red, yellow, and blue. And then the secondary colors are the ones in between those, which is orange, green, and purple. And so this is the color wheel. And when we're talking about warm colors, then it's everything on this half. So I would say pink, red, orange, yellow. So warm colors are anything that invokes feelings of, well, warmth, like fire. So if you think of what colors might be in fire. And cool colors are on this side. So we're gonna be working with green, blue, and purple. And so the cool colors are anything that, if you think of the ocean or water, trees, so those are all the cool colors. So we're doing a contrast piece between warm and cool colors. So yeah, keep that in mind as we're coloring either the warm side versus the cool side. So when you're drawing your moon and your stars and your clouds in here, then I want you to work and just to keep on mind about that. So your stars and the shooting star portion and the clouds are all going to be positive space. And what's left behind in the background is negative space. So this is negative space and this is negative space. And so we want your stars and your cloud and the shooting part to be pretty big so that it's almost even. Like there's just as much background as there is foreground. So that means that these have to be fairly big. So you can color each one of them. So here in the negative space, I colored a pattern texture of stars. And here in the negative space, I colored the hash mark diamond pattern. And then I think this is part of the shooting star. Doesn't really matter. Anyway, just so you have smaller sections to fill in your patterns. So this is good. I want to note, you don't want to color in anything solid like this. This only is to show you positive and negative space. So we're not coloring solid. We're going to be working with texture and line and pattern today. So these I would say are good, half and half. There's probably just as much white as there is blue. There's just as much background as there is foreground. So what happens if you color the stars small? How much background is there? There's just a lot, right? And then when there's that much, you just kind of get lost in this sea of things, and then there's not very much to color in here. So see the difference, how when they're big, then you have a big area to play with your designs and texture and different patterns here. But when you have a little area, this is not so good, because then you don't have a lot of room to work in here, first of all, and then this turns into one big texture pattern. Like, you really need to break it up. So this is not good, and then this is better when you're drawing. So we're not filling anything completely blue, just to be clear. I'm just showing you the difference between these negative space and how to draw bigger, so that when you go fill it in, then the texture will be easier to fill in when on a bigger drawing like this. Don't start on any other patterns now, because we're going to talk about patterns in just a second. Right now, I would just fill in clouds where you want them. Like here, I had one in the corner. Maybe I'll take a break on the clouds for just a second and see where I want these shooting stars to be. So we'll take a break for just a second. We'll draw our lines for our shooting stars. And I'm going to do green on the other side. Kind of curve it around. And then now the negative space is this area, and I think, oh, do I need a cloud in there? Maybe we'll just do a little cloud like that in the corner. So this is what we're doing. We're kind of chunking it out, so there's not so much white space here. So between a cloud marker and then shooting stars, and I turn my paper a lot, and I'm sorry if it makes you guys dizzy, but that way I can always bring the arch towards me. It's like the natural curve of your hand. It's just easier to draw a pretty line when it's coming towards you. So if you're looking for ideas for texture, an easy one would be swirls, where you just draw a spiral. And then here in the corner, you can't draw your full spiral, so you just pretend and then continue along and continue along. And then likewise for here. So you just do maybe this part of it and then continue like that. And then that'll look like the pattern continues off the page. Another good one maybe is just plants, like I'm just drawing teardrop. And then maybe filling them in every other one. I don't love how, like, if you were to fill them in, I would suggest filling them in crayon or filling them in with a pattern. This seems too bold, like it's too filled in. So I can like fill it in with a pattern. We're gonna do zigzag on this one. And then maybe we'll do yellow in the middle. So just try and do as much pattern and texture as possible. So when you're filling in your negative space of where those stars are, this is something that you can do with a ruler if you want. I don't use a ruler, but it just is a different look. And then if you go completely this like one way and then one way, like making a T, it'll make boxes. Whereas if you kind of do it just sideways, it'll make more diamond looking things. So I'm going to do this one sideways. So it's more diamondy. I don't know if you can see the difference in that. So see the boxes, which I did a T shaped, and this one was sideways. So I like the diamond look. And what we might do is fill in, I'm just copying this one. Fill in every other one to really make those diamonds pop. Okay, and then on this one, I did the outsides in darker. And then when you're shading, you press hard on the outside and go press lighter, 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 lighter until it's super light. And that's how you shade. So it might be good to practice on a side piece of paper. Hard, lighter, super light. So I'm doing hard on the outside, lighter, super light. And this is going to make it look like it's on the bottom of something, almost more 3D, like it's underneath something else. So you don't want to go in the middle. The middle is going to be your highlighted area. Okay, so we have it darker on the edges. And then on here, I took an even darker crayon. You have to check and see. That one's a good one. And then right where the shadows are, I just kind of re-go over the crisscross. And then that makes it look really cool. So don't go up in here, just where these shadows are. You have to kind of see, where does this line go, and go just part of the way up. There we go. And maybe go around the whole thing with your darker crayon, just to really make it dark on the edges. So I think that looks really cool. Am I the only one that's impressed by this? I just think it looks neat. So we're going to talk a little bit about color blending. This one I did with marker, but I just wanted to show you, similar to the blue where it's dark to light. So initially just practice pressing really hard and coloring something in, and then go lighter, 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 lighter. Okay? And then when you do your next color, so I would say next would be orange and then yellow. When you do your next color, start in the red section and try and blend it so that it goes. So now we have a color that's like reddish orange, and blend it into orange, pressing hard, and then that's your pure orange color, and then go lighter, 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 lighter. And then start with the yellow right there in that light orange section, and press hard. So now you have this like yellowish orange, and then that's go into pure yellow, and then lighter, 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 until it goes into white. And then when you're done with all that, I'm kind of using my yellow to blend everything together, because red and yellow make orange, so it's okay to put this kind of all over the place. It seems to be, now you want to get rid of your stark line. So there seems to be a stark line right here. So I'm going to just add a little bit more orange just to blend it in. Try and get rid of that. There seems to be a stark line right there. So I'm gonna add a little bit more red, really softly, not too much because I don't want to get rid of that orange. Just to kind of blend it in a little bit better. Maybe we'll make this part down here darker red. There. So then now you can see how it blends better. So if you guys are wondering how to draw a fire, then I start by doing these, you know, assuming that this is the top, I start by doing these little horseshoes, like C's, that they kind of curve around, almost like you're trying to draw a full circle, but then you just stop. And they all point towards the top. Then you draw something similar to a petal or a lemon connecting this dot with this dot. So these two are the ones we want to connect, and later these two will be the ones we want to connect. So you go out like a lemon and then connect it in. So it kind of makes this like, it looks almost, well, like a lemon. And then it's important on fire that this part, that fire burns up. And so you want to keep this part pointing up. So you go out like a lemon and back down. Out. And then if you want to add another loop, you can, and go back down. And it's also fun sometimes to add just this little like shot that might go up. So out. So that would be how I would draw fire. So all of those are pointing up. This is how maybe you wouldn't do it, I guess. Like if this goes this way, fire doesn't really go, I mean, unless the wind is blowing, I suppose. So you just want to keep these things up as much as possible. Not, you don't want to like go out this way because it's just not going to look quite right. It'll look more like a plant. There. So you got your teardrops, and we're connecting these two. If you get halfway there and you're like, oh, I'm not really going to make it, we'll just make that too. That one naturally made it. So there's our fire. And then maybe we'll add a little jump flame. So with fire, then the hottest part is going to be in the center. So it's going to be white down here. And it'll blend from white to yellow to orange to red. So the darkest parts are going to be on the very tips, like this. And so I just darken those up. And then it goes from red to orange. You just kind of follow that along. Follow your swoops. Smearing it. You can make this loop in. So there's your orange, and then the next lightest color is yellow. And the very, very center of your fire is going to be white because it is the hottest. Some fires even have blue, but so we'll leave this bottom part white. And then I think I'm going to go back in and kind of blend that red in, because what's more fun, the more colors you blend in there. So that is how I draw flames. So what will make your picture really pop and really look good is keeping in mind contrast. And so on a practice piece of paper, it's good to see what colors are high contrast versus low. So contrast just means two colors that are strikingly different. So if you have brown and you're doing this like hash marks, and then you have say orange. And with the brown, if I were to color orange over that, then that really makes the brown pop. It makes the orange just warm it up. It looks great. So I would say that this is good contrast. And with this one, if I were to color over it with, say, a red crayon where the two colors are pretty close, then I would say it doesn't look as good. So the red just kind of overwhelms our orange and you can't even see the hash marks anymore. So that's just something that you can experiment on your own on the side. So between using the contrast of markers versus crayon and the contrast of light crayon versus dark crayon. So since the red is darker, maybe we'll put it on the bottom. And then maybe we'll put light colors over it, like a yellow. That looks good. Or if you want to blend that yellow right into orange, we can do two colors over it. See, that looks good. Two. Smiley face. So that's the difference between contrast. So this is really low contrast where it just kind of moshes together. And then these two are high contrast.